Gambia was a former British colony and is the smallest country in Africa. It extends like a tongue into Senegal, along the banks of the Gambia River. Britain's attempt to establish this as an agricultural and commercial base failed, and it became independent in 1965. The first president had an extremely corrupt regime and was overthrown by a military coup in 1994. Jammeh, the coup leader, is now president and has suppressed the press and regime critics and enriched himself personally. He runs an extremely repressive government and has been accused of human rights violations. We went by pirogue across the Gambia River to Tenaba, a small village with a well-worn welcome sign. Fishing is the major activity here, and women were cleaning fish by the side of the river. 90% of the population of the Gambia is Muslim, and there is a very large mosque here. We piled into an open truck to visit the Kiang West National Park. We soon passed the Tenaba Airport, which is nothing more than a dirt strip with animals grazing nearby. On our way to the park, through dust, dirt roads, and lots of bumps, we passed several villages. This is not a tourist area, so women and children in the villages waved at us as we went by. We passed a secular school at dismissal time, and all the children ran after us. Soon afterwards, we passed another group of children, going home from an Islamic school. We felt like the Pied Piper, followed by legions of kids. The villages we pass are like one another. The villages have adobe huts with straw roofs. There's a fence around the house to keep the animals from wandering away. We soon come to two men threshing wheat. The first man beats the wheat with 2 sticks to separate the wheat from the chaff. The result is then put in a basket, which the second man dumps from a height to allow the chaff to blow away. A small boy on a mule-drawn cart approaches from the distance, and other boys magically appear. Most are barefoot and wear faded t-shirts with American or European logos. They want their pictures taken, and like many other children we've seen in West Africa, they delight at viewing their photos on a digital camera. As we travel, we see the scenes of daily life. Children playing, ox-drawn carts, schoolboys, a mother with a new baby, and life around the village well, which supplies the water for cooking, washing, bathing, and other necessities of life. The ecosystem here is different from anything we've seen. It's what's called a savanna. Trees of different types separated by wide swaths of elephant grass. We come across a group of 4 bird watchers. This is a bird watcher's paradise, with many types of birds that prey on the insects and small rodents in the savanna. Gambia is the 4th most populous country per square mile in Africa, and for 85% of the population, wood is the sole source of fuel, leading to a dramatic decline in indigenous woodland. Although some trees are green, most are dry, and it is very dusty. The area is full of large termite mounds. During the wet season, villagers make soup out of termites, or fry them and eat them, and the acid extrusion from the termite soldiers when they bite is considered a cure for rheumatism. We go back through Tenaba to our ship for lunch. After lunch, we get back in the pirogues and go across the broad Gambia River into a narrow tributary through the Baal-Belong wetland reserves. The Baal-Belong is a braided river system that forms a network of waterways and marshes. Here mangrove forests reach heights of up to 40 feet. We explore the reserve by boat, winding slowly up the Bolon through the mangroves. Large nests are in many trees. A large crocodile is sitting on the bank. We don't bother it, and it doesn't bother us. The next morning we pass through Banjul, the capital of the Gambia. Banjul is a bustling city with a population of about 35,000. The picture of Jammeh, the president, is everywhere. There is a brightly colored building with a shop advertising both tailoring and telephone service. We pass children going to school. And on the outside of town there is a very large football stadium. Football in Africa, of course, means soccer. Our first stop this morning is at the Abuko Nature Reserve. This is an entirely different ecosystem than what we had previously observed. Dense tropical forest with thick vegetation, large palm trees, and beautiful flowers. There are many animals here in the reserve. Most are easily visible. As usual, the monkeys are a treat to watch. We spend time watching the vervet monkeys, which are considered a pest here since they destroy crops. But we also enjoy seeing a baboon. The Makasutu Cultural Reserve is a project of two Englishmen who were looking for a place in Gambia to build an eco-lodge. They found Makasutu Cultural Forest. However, the villagers were reluctant to sell it to them, as legend has it that it was haunted by jinns and reserved for sacred tribal rituals. They managed to buy 1.5 hectares of land and departed. When they returned, they found many trees cut down by Sierra Leonean refugees who needed farmland to grow food to eat. After some personal help, they managed to secure the purchase of over 1,000 hectares of land. After 7 years of toil and endeavor, the area was opened to tourists in July 1999. Mandina Lodge itself was an afterthought, because so many tourists said they wanted to stay there. Today the lodge employs 150 Gambians, some of whom live on the site, and it has become one of the top eco-lodges in the world. Here we had a canoe ride among the mangroves, and the chance to have a traditional Gambian lunch and hear the kora being played.
Masaye mapale, banyali wo masaye mapale, banyali wo masaye mapale.
Judy had her fortune told by the curer, a wizened old man with rheumy eyes, sitting in a straw hut, surrounded by various ritual objects. He studied her hand and her eyes, and said that she had a good husband. She would live a long life, and her children will always take care of her. He also said she would be very successful, and that she should buy a weaving and give it to a Gambian to guarantee safety in travel. A young man translated. Later he approached her with a weaving he bought from a craft market and said it cost $15, but it would only be $8 for her. She decided to take her chances